He didn't choose his destiny, but the destiny chose him, as the saying goes. As for the hero of our program, we can say that he didn't choose Italy, but Italy chose him. Italy's red stream has always gone through his life. First of all, a boy who was born to an ordinary Kazakh family was given not Kazakh, but rather Italian name, Andrian. And artistry and impulsiveness of his character are typical for Italians. His work has often been connected with Italy. He has a lot of friends there and knows everything about the country. The mission of Kazakh ambassador to Italy provides an opportunity to raise the level of bilateral cooperation. You won't say that Andrian Elemesov never thought about Italy or diplomatic activity. He was born in the southernmost place of the former Soviet Union, the Turkmen city of Mari. Fate decreed that his ancestors lived there, but as soon as they got a chance, they immediately moved to Kazakhstan, their homeland. The birth of a boy to the Elemesov family coincided with an important event, a spaceflight of the third Soviet astronaut Andrian Nikolaev, which is why the head of the Elemesov family named his son Andrian. At the early age, the boy set himself the tasks as huge as space. If everybody around him thought it was impossible to carry out a certain task, it wasn't a reason for Andrian Elemesov to abandon his plan. In this case, he would say, "With your help or without it, I will do it anyway." He is strict at work and is incredibly enchanting during conversations. Andrian Elemesov is not afraid of difficulties. Sometimes it even seems that he doesn't try to find easy ways, but the other way around.
Я учился, сам захотел учиться на инженера-производственника, поэтому пошел, выбрал путь инженера-строителя и поступил в инженерно-строительный факультет по специальности промышленное гражданское строительство. После завершения учебы сам попросился на работу рабочим, потому что закончив институт, я еще не знал, что такое строительство.
I studied production engineering and wanted to be a civil engineer. My major was industrial and civil construction. After graduation, I applied for a corresponding job. I wanted to test my skills. 3 months after I started working, I took part in a mason contest and took first place in a city.
Иду работать рабочим, но я вот хотел себя попробовать, посмотреть, насколько я смогу, выдержу, как бы себе испытательные звенья поставил в жизни. И ничего, я через 3 месяца после начала работы участвовал на конкурсе каменщиков и выиграл первое место по городу.
Andrian Elemesov worked as a foreman and a construction site supervisor. Later, the Moscow Construction Engineering Institute offered him a postgraduate course.
Там я продолжал свои методы, опыты.
I continued my experiments there, produced a fire brick for blast furnaces, which could withstand a temperature of about 2000 degrees and weighed only 800 grams, while its analog weighed about 3 to 4 kilograms and couldn't withstand such a high temperature. I invented these light bricks.
Аналог был около 3-4 килограмм, тяжелые кирпичи до этого, и выдерживали меньше градусов. Поэтому такой легковес придумал.
In the beginning of the 1990s, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Andrian Elemesov took up business. Later on, he opened the representation office of his company in Italy, where he moved together with his family. After a Kazakh-Italian company opened in Italy, Mr. Elemesov was appointed the director of the company's representation office in this country. He lived and worked for 3 years in the country and learned its language.
В один из дней мои знакомые, друзья подавали какие-то документы, рекомендации.
My friends who submitted their documents to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs recommended me as a candidate. They said that there was a Kazakh who spoke Italian. After that, I was invited to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where I started my diplomatic career. As soon as the embassy of Kazakhstan opened in Italy, I was appointed a consul, third secretary.
И вот с первых дней открытия этого посольства Казахстана в Италии был назначен консулом сюда, третьим секретарем.
When Kazakhstan gained independence, the main task was to solve technical problems, including laying the foundation of legal and material resources, the structure of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and personnel issues. Obviously, there wasn't enough personnel in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to accomplish the new tasks. The first ambassadors of Kazakhstan were appointed in 1992.
В первые дни, конечно, было тяжело от того, что в составе, который выехал в первом составе посольства, руководил уже Сумар Сулейменов, в составе не было ребят, которые владели...
It was difficult in the beginning. Oljas Suleimanov was the head of the first group in the embassy, and nobody could speak Italian. I think that I was lucky because I improved my knowledge of the language and picked up the words. However, I didn't think that I'd manage it, so I had to work day and night. At the beginning, we worked in all embassies. We introduced Kazakhstan to the world and were very busy.
Думал, не выдержу, потому что днем и ночью работать постоянно, выходных почти нет. Тогда все так работали, в принципе, во всех посольствах так было. Начало становления, Казахстану интерес какой-то есть, и плюс каждое посольство хочет познакомить со своей страной.
When Kazakhstan appeared on the international arena as an independent state, first of all, it started to choose its foreign policy priorities, establish friendly relations and ensure effective cooperation with various countries, which could contribute to the security of the republic and accomplishment of strategic development tasks. Italy was such a country in Europe.
Если с 1994 года считать, по 2011 год, 1994 по 2011 год,
Over 17 years from 1994 until 2011, Italy invested 5.7 billion in Kazakhstan, which was a large amount. The trade turnover between the countries amounted to 16 billion US dollars, which is a large amount too. Italy is in third place after Russia and China in this regard. It is the first country of the European Union which promotes such close cooperation with us.
Миллиардов долларов США. Поэтому это очень большой показатель. Так как Казахстан, Италия — это третье место, которое имеет такой большой показатель после России и Китая. В целом по Евросоюзу это первый, кто имеет такие тесный товарооборот, тесное сотрудничество.
Bilateral relations aren't limited to the economic component. A lot of Italian and Kazakh companies establish business relations in agricultural sector. There is also an interaction in the sphere of aerospace. Joint research projects are carried out and contracts between Kazakh and Italian universities are concluded. Kazakh-Italian bilateral cooperation is developing in the culture sphere as well.
Итальянский народ очень благодарен Казахстану за вклад, внесенный.
Italian people are grateful to the residents of Kazakhstan for their contribution to the maintenance and restoration of a very important part of the country's cultural heritage, which is the villa where the Kazakh embassy is located now. Emperor Lucius Verus and Count Manzoni, who was the first Italian ambassador to the USSR, lived here in different periods. When Kazakhstan acquired the building with a surrounding area of 9 hectares, it was in a poor condition. In order to make repairs outside and inside the building, it was necessary to study all historical documents and materials. It took 5 years to reconstruct this architectural masterpiece.
Прекрасной виллы, которая находится на возвышенности, ушло 5 лет.
Когда сюда приходят теперь иностранцы, они просто поражаются.
When foreigners come here, they are surprised, especially when they get inside, because it is their inheritance, Italian people's history. They are astonished that Kazakhstan has repaired it. So it's an achievement of our country.
Когда приходят к нам, они поражаются, что Казахстан восстановил это все. Казахстан содержит в таком виде это здание, это наследие итальянцев. Конечно, поэтому это большая заслуга нашей страны.
In 2012, Andrian Elemesov was assigned as a Kazakh ambassador to Italy. The diplomat started his work with a great responsibility and boundless enthusiasm, which is typical for him. The new position reunited old friends and set new tasks.
Я сам по себе сторонник народной дипломатии. Я за то, чтобы народ дружил.
Actually, I am a supporter of citizen diplomacy. I want people to be friends. In my opinion, diplomacy itself is based entirely on citizen diplomacy. My position is also based on it. I try to make friends with good people.
Именно с такой точки зрения. Стараюсь завести дружбу с хорошими людьми.
Andrian Elemesov was given Italian President's Special Award for his contribution to the strengthening of friendship between Kazakhstan and Italy. The Order of Merit of the Italian Republic is a symbol of great respect in Italy. Michelangelo Antonioni, Placido Domingo, Charles de Gaulle, Luciano Pavarotti, Nursultan Nazarbayev, kings, princes and politicians have been given this award, founded in 1951. Andrian Elemesov is also on the list of those holding this order. Ambassadors play an important part in relations between countries. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev is my friend, and I know that everything depends on friendship and relationships developed due to it. Mr. Elemesov studied Italian economy and laid an excellent foundation for the strengthening of relations between our countries. He speaks Italian fluently. Mr. Elemesov is skilled in diplomatic language and presents facts clearly and precisely. A professional diplomat should be able to use diplomatic style. Andrian Elemesov says that working in the State Protocol Service of the Kazakh Ministry of Foreign Affairs helped him to master this skill. The Protocol Service provides a good school for diplomats. Any diplomat who has an experience not only in political and consular work, but also in a protocol one, is considered a real diplomat. Andrian Elemesov was the head of the State Protocol Service for 6.5 years. The State Protocol Service is responsible for state, official and non-official visits, meetings, negotiations, signing bilateral documents, inaugurations, official receptions, business trips of the head of state and many other events. Each visit or meeting was valuable and significant for Andrian Elemesov.
Когда первый раз первым государственным визитом прибыл Абдалла II, король Иордании, прилетел в Алмату, несколько раз там передвигалась, с Астаны потом на Алмату перенесли. Мы приехали в Алмату, встретили. На следующий день с утра главе государства привезли, там все церемонии, встречи все прошли. И вот после обеда его привезли в гостиницу, он должен был сейчас выехать.
When King Abdullah II of Jordan paid the first visit to Kazakhstan, we met him in the morning and took him to the head of state. In the afternoon, we brought him to the hotel, and while I was waiting for him, I received a call from maternity hospital, and the doctor told me that my son had been born. I became very emotional, and when the king got out, he asked me what had happened. I told him that my son had been born, and he congratulated me. When he asked me what name I had given him, I said that it was Aldiyar. Then I asked if I could give him the second name, Abdullah. He agreed and gave his blessing.
Алдияр – это обращение, говорю, к высшим должностным лицам, то есть Your Majesty, наверное, ваше королевское величество. Вот примерно так, говорю, звучит. Я говорю, если вы разрешите, говорю, может быть, я отдам слово ему второе имя, Абдалла. Ну да, пожалуйста, благословил.
Andrian Elemesov has many friends who he studied and worked with and who are always next to him. They bring him deep happiness. His wife and loyal friend Aygul is always next to him too. She is a charming woman and a caring mother. She was with him when he was engaged in international work and will always be a good friend of his who always helps him.
Моя позиция построить работу одной командой.
I want to work in a team. There is safety in numbers, and an ambassador without his team has no importance. An ambassador has to be able to unite people who have different opinions in the embassy. In order to unite people, you have to organize work in such a way that every person could feel the help of his friends and colleagues.
С разными своими думками, своими проблемами, в конце концов, с разным видением жизни, целей жизни, должен объединить всех. А для объединения это очень тяжело, это не просто так, это годы нужны. Поэтому для объединения людей надо придумывать в буквальном смысле именно то, по причине чего каждый человек будет как-то вместе чувствовать локоть друга, соседа.